I see the countdown.
Okay, 1 minute after 12. Welcome to the podcast, The Coaches Next Door. So we had a little of a technical issue, so I needed to be late 1 minute. So it's fine, I think. Like I said in the last episode, today we have a very special guest. Like our guests are normally very special people, but. Yeah, Allison, I'm already presenting you. I always have great difficulties on knowing when I met people. Time is not my
Yes.
biggest thing, but we met each other some years ago.
Yeah.
Let me put it
I'm the
this way.
same way. Yeah.
So we met each other, and I must say that we met each other, and was some years ago, like I said, and you were in a very different life, right?
Yeah.
And what I find magnificent is to see, life, not only my life, of course, but the life of people that I meet. Also, coming to different places and yeah, developing in that sense. So let me also say why I invited you, and I asked you if you wanted to join me, and thank God you said yes. uh, was because I really believe that the story that you have until now is a very inspiring story. For the very, and we are going to explore that story, of course, but for many and different reasons. But I think one of the biggest thing that I keep from you is that you never, how can I say, I don't want you never gave up,
Mm.
even when things got a little bit rough. And
Yeah.
they got some moments a little bit rough. You were like a kind of like, okay, okay, it's okay, I will get there, you know I will get there. So and that is one of the things that I really keep, and I think that is one of the points that can, yeah, really support also other people to say, hey, it's okay, sometimes
Yeah.
takes time. Sometimes it's not going like in a beautiful flow in a paradise, but most part of the times happens.
Yeah.
Most of part of the times comes. So welcome, Allison, and I will invite you to present a little bit yourself. What do you want us to know about you?
Well, that's a really fun introduction that you gave because indeed it's true, but I've never been introduced in this particular way. So I really, that's fun. Um, yeah, yeah, it is. It's been an interesting journey up until this point, let's say, and that is one thing that I have learned about myself along this path is I'm gonna do it, and I'm going to get there. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it can sometimes be so simple, but uh, it sounds sometimes easier than how it actually is.
yeah.
Um, a bit about me. Yeah, I can do some practical things, just high level. I come from the United States, and I've been living now in the Netherlands for a bit over 10 years, in a couple of different cities. Now I'm in Zwolle. My background is, well, I studied media communications, and I have a passion for the arts. And I worked in consulting for about 8 years. So, working with large tech companies, helping them to, yeah, work on their individual branding. So, I was working with senior leaders and executives for how to optimize their LinkedIn profile and how to present themselves in the digital space.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was a really big phase of my life.
Yeah. Yeah,
uh,
that's when we met.
yeah,
You were doing that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing that I have learned from that experience, but also a lot of life experiences, in the context you are in, it is possible to find your purpose and your passion.
Yeah.
However, um, sometimes um, finding your way within that can be challenging. It can be not always fitting correct, but
Yeah.
you can find your passion and your purpose within a certain context, but then sometimes exploring different contexts gives um, a new type of experience that
Yeah,
maybe
because
is
one of the things that I normally say is that yeah, sometimes it's not a lot about what you do, right? But it's about how you do it. And
yeah,
yeah, for instance, I worked in the fashion industry, right? And sometimes people say to me, how that happened, how you
yeah,
end up in fashion. That is something that now, yeah, most I can imagine that most part of the people don't identify me as a fashion, driven person.
yeah,
But I think it's not about that, and it's not about what you do, but how you do it. But of course, some contexts they will, let's say, require so much energy to,
yeah,
because yeah, they are far from what you would like to do, that at the end the price and the energy that you want to deliver to your purpose, and gets like, oh my god, this is hard, this is difficult. Of
yeah,
course it's possible, but takes a little bit more energy. And today, in particular, was interesting because I had the morning with coaching sessions, and that was a topic of today. And yeah, and now we are here. It's interesting how sometimes
it
things
comes together.
just fit, just
Yeah,
fit. And one of the things that I got this morning was this. I think sometimes people are really good on putting the responsibility on themselves. So if you say, "Oh, who is stopping you? Why you feel stuck?" People will say, "Oh, it's me. I'm not maybe
yeah,
doing what is needed. I'm maybe not putting myself out there." And then when we were exploring, and we realized, and the person in particular realized that, yeah, it's not her. Is this the context? Is
yeah,
all the context that she's in is not allowing anything else, because it's
right.
so much energy just to be in that context, just to survive in that context, that when she wants to put the energy on, something that she likes or something that she wants, she's like, oh, I'm tired,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm exhausted, so I don't have that possibility.
yeah,
So how was for you? How was for you? Because coming from the corporate and being in the corporate, how was for you to, like you said, maintaining your purpose to start?
yeah.
How were you able to know this is my purpose and I'm going to do it in this particular context, in the corporate? How was that?
Yeah, that was also a journey in itself, but it was really identifying that I love to help people and
Mm,
be people's be a listening ear, and to help people actually listen to their own voice.
mm,
So to create that space for people to feel comfortable enough to explore their voice and what they want and what does bring them joy. And um, I was able to find my way to do that in the corporate space, and that was
mm.
very powerful in some cases
Yeah.
Some of the impact that was made when I would work with people was truly um, truly remarkable. But indeed, it's there was a lot of energy put into that, right? And
Yeah.
um, I think by nature I am a very like open and free and like I'm not really one who goes within structure. I really
Mm.
like to create my own structure for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, that was a bit of a challenge in that process.
Yeah.
I felt like, oh, I want to do more. I want to. What else can I do, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
um, I felt I needed to withhold myself a little bit and stay. Okay, I have to keep my focus. This is my responsibility here, and that was great, you know. And for some people, that works awesome. That works
Yes.
really well,
Some
right?
people, I think they cannot even operate without that.
Yes, right.
They need a
Totally.
strong frame. They need, some people are really good with keeping the structure.
Yeah.
I remember I had a colleague when I was in the corporate that I will admire him because he could repeat the same thing
Yes. Yes.
an entire day. You know,
It's amazing.
like a cassette, like a disc,
Yeah.
like something
Yeah.
recorded. And I was like, oh my God, I would love to be able to do that. Because I don't even sometimes remember what I said. And I was like, I cannot repeat it. Sometimes people ask me, like, Ligia, what did you just said? And like, gone. I
Yeah.
cannot repeat it.
It's
But
awesome.
I could admire so much that in him
Yeah.
because I think sometimes could be really useful, like just
Yeah.
repeat it. Let's just like,
Yeah, I can imagine it's
yeah,
very relaxing in
yeah,
some way, right?
like
There's no need to, you know,
think or yeah, yeah,
yeah, it's really
yeah,
almost meditative, I think, for some
yeah,
people, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly, exactly.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
so when did you decide that it was time to to go for something else? How that happened? I still
yeah.
didn't say what you have right now. Like yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
we keep the
We're
secret.
keeping it
So
hanging, yeah.
but when was that moment? What was there that said, okay, you
Mm,
know what? Now it's time to
yeah.
crack this and go to another place and do another thing.
Yeah. Well, I had, like I mentioned, I'm a very creative person, and throughout my life, I've done a few projects, let's say,
Hmm.
that I initiated and started. But it was always on the side, right? It was
Mm.
always started and then it stopped. But I always felt such um, a connection to those moments, and so um, I I learned how to knit. So here's the first
The
hint of
first
what I'm
in.
doing. When I was on maternity leave with my first child, and it felt like I had found my hobby. I had been
Mm.
playing with hobbies also my whole life, but none of them ever really clicked. I was always focused on the result instead of the process. And so for me, knitting became part of my process and actually going into my body and slowing down, going from my head into my heart, being productive in a way was
Hmm.
very gratifying. And touching natural materials, right? So there's, I mean, you can look at all the research about how knitting is good for a human, but I definitely felt those, and so I really connected to the hobby, and I started to just go further into it, and I began to, yeah, my mother-in-law had taught me, so we began to have fun and play a bit with it, and it really became more of a hobby that grew into more people wanting to participate in this communal hobby is kind of
Yeah.
how it was. And so I just I went with the energy, to be honest. It was really the energy that I was feeling from it was also going out into the world.
Yeah.
And that was when I felt, okay, this could be interesting. Let's go with this. Let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
Um, and for a while, I really I took it that way because I was still working at my other job. I was on maternity leave and back, and you know, this was really still play.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, on my second maternity leave, there was changing in the company, and well, it wasn't working out at the company I was at.
Other.
Yeah, but it was changing. So yeah, uh, actually, yeah. Then I got fired, and so it was time to. It was like, okay, reality check. Like, I guess I need
Sometimes, you know,
to.
sometimes we need a kick,
Yeah,
you
it was
know,
kind of like
and
that. I'm
yeah,
like, okay, well,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
where we're at now. So
yeah,
what's next? And
yeah,
the momentum of this hobby community began to grow more and more. And so at that moment, I said, well, okay, um, what would happen if I put some focused attention to it?
yeah.
Okay, let's try that.
Let's see
Let's
what
try it
happens.
and see what's
Yeah,
going. And yeah, from there, that's actually quite recent. So this the beginning of this year is when um, I've started really focused and committed to the business. And yeah, it's so maybe now is a good time to say what it is.
yeah. What it is? What is this all about?
Yeah, so the company is called Ama Knitwear, and the purpose is to connect people through knitting. And
Yeah,
so that includes connecting with yourself, connecting with others, and connecting with your surroundings.
yeah,
Um, and doing that through a variety of different activities, right? So, knitting garments for others who don't knit themselves. That includes gatherings of local knitters. That includes doing festivals and events
yeah,
um, and more. So, it's
yeah,
continuing to grow and evolve.
yeah,
Um, yeah, and so far I have there's 40 people within a WhatsApp group. It's people around the region, and actually
yeah.
some people are even an hour away that
Away.
come to
Wow.
our gatherings. um, yeah, just to knit together, to be in
Yeah,
community and to feel
yeah,
this connection. So that's a high level
yeah.
explanation of
Yeah,
where.
but the interesting thing is that, and I'm going then to share we are going to share the website and the
Yeah,
pages, because people can also buy this.
yeah,
They can
yeah,
buy the product, because you have several and
yeah,
different things, but they can buy this that was, let's say, done in this community. So it's
yeah.
also a way, if we cannot join the community because, yeah, we are in another part of the world or in another part of Holland,
Yeah.
you can still, let's say, because for instance I have mine, and when I put it on, it's a winter thing, I feel like, oh, you know what, I feel that this is done by someone, and I
Yeah.
know who that person is, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
gains a sense of a hug, almost like is a
Yeah.
beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And I think that what you're saying about the
Yeah.
community, because of course we can have hobbies, we can have different things that we are doing, but being and belonging to a community, uh,
Yes.
what 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 do you feel that, of course, for you, that brought, what was, something that you discovered that maybe in another way you will be a little bit more challenged to discover just because you
Yeah.
are in this community?
Um, well, one thing I discovered for myself, and yeah, later I've discovered that a lot of people feel this way, is how far away we are. A lot of us. Um, we live in a different world, right? And yeah, from this experience, it's just been like I feel like I've just taken like a high speed train back to Earth and
Yeah,
like
yeah,
feeling really the ground under my feet. And I feel like that is what a lot of people are feeling. Like, and that's what I mean by connecting with self. But then on top of that, once you're there, you're like, oh my gosh, where am I?
yeah,
And am I alone here? Or like, are there other people around? And so then you're like, okay, who else is here? Right. And then
yeah,
the community aspect comes into play. And then it's like, okay, well, we're together, but where are we? Right.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
I,
okay, let's be in our environment. Like, okay, we're in Zwolle. What's Zwolle have to offer? Where can we go? Right. So
yeah,
this process
yeah,
of coming back um,
yeah.
and coming back together. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is a subject that also that is, yeah, like I said, some things just there, right? And one of the things is, I even wrote about that last week, is about this amazing hallucination that we have, because we are all hallucinating
Yeah.
that that we are alone.
Yes.
Is
Yeah,
is a global hallucination that.
it is.
And one of the things that I'm really sometimes triggered by is that since the moment we are conceived as a human, um, we are in a relationship,
Yeah.
right? Since that moment, at least that we know as that moment, right? And then we are born, we grow up, and we think that first we don't need relationships. And when we say, oh, okay, maybe I'm going to enter this relationship, is one of the most difficult topics for most part of the people,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
right? Is one of, I think for everyone, I don't want to put my voice in anyone else, but I think everyone has a relationship that goes like, that relationship is not exactly what I will want to that relationship to be, right? So how we end up, the thing that we are most made to do, to be with others, to be in a relationship, became the most difficult thing for us to do as human beings.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how, yeah, and sometimes I stop and I say, when this happened?
Yeah.
What happened with us, you know? And of course, we can say that a lot is because we lost connection with ourselves,
Selves. Yeah.
right? We lost connection with this, right? And
Yeah.
how was for you to, and it's interesting because you also in between you had your children, the two of them. So yeah, was really a a reality check
Yeah.
for
Well,
yourself.
absolutely. And, I'm um I have my mother passed away when I was 21, and
Yeah,
that also plays into this entire experience as well, because becoming a mother myself, um there was a new dynamic between me and her, I can
yeah,
say. And um, there was this sense of openness and this sense of, okay, I'm a mother now. And
Yeah.
I felt her energy a lot more. And she was a woman who really promoted doing this kind of work,
Yeah.
of being present and inspiring others to be present as well.
Yeah.
So all of it kind of came together, let's say. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
But that's the thing, is that when you say, when you were saying that we can, in any context, we can do our purpose, is also a little bit about that, right? It's like,
yeah.
in truth, we can, I always say, we cannot be without a purpose.
I totally agree. Yeah.
And yeah, isn't, I also have a belief that we cannot not do the purpose. Nothing
Yeah.
to find out, is nothing to go after. You are always doing your purpose, but you can do it in more healthy ways,
Mm,
more integrated and more, embodied, and or you can do it in a, let's say, disconnected way, and
yeah.
that sometimes becomes unhealthy in that sense,
Yeah.
because you are going to find strategies that maybe, yeah, they are not so healthy for you.
Yeah.
And I think when we are able, or we want, or we spend, some energy on that, we will probably find out that everything is connected with everything,
Yeah. It's so true.
right? So,
Yes.
for instance, I have a thing that is no, I can still not explain. One, I have an expression that I use, and I started using this, and I was like, I don't know, super young, and it's a thing that I say when someone is like messing up with me or whatever. I say, oh, I'm going to say, because it's in Portuguese. I say, oh, vai má venda, because like, oh, leave me alone, like, go away. But it's a very particular expression. And I start saying it. And one time, my father said to me, oh, can you please not use that expression? And I was like, why? I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
came really natural for me. And my father said to me, because my mom was saying that. My grandmother died when my father was 16 years old.
Wow.
So I never met her. And my father never talked about it, because yeah, it was heavy for him. But one, I remember that expression that I never heard, I repeated, and he was the one saying to me, oh, my mom was always saying that. And I was
Wow.
like, really? And
That's
I said, okay, but I don't know if I want to stop it now, even more than if I know that.
yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah.
I want to stop it. So let's see how you can deal with that, and let's see how this works. And I still say it today. I still go for it.
Yes.
So how connected we are, sometimes we are not even aware,
That's right.
right? So
And and
your mom
sometimes
came to you in that sense, right?
that's it. And as you're telling this story, it's so beautiful when you let go of trying to carry on things that you want to carry on,
Yeah.
and you wait for it to be received. I don't know if that makes sense, but I know for me, for a while, I was like, wow, I really want to find my purpose and I
Yeah.
want to go and like leave my legacy and, do it for mom or, all of
Yeah.
those things.
Yeah.
And at one moment I said, you know what? Het komt goed in Dutch.
Yeah. Yeah.
It will come. It will
You will come.
come. It's going to be
Yeah.
okay.
But
And
I think for that you need to open that space.
yes.
And that is when I say, don't spend energy on doing and maintaining things and keeping contexts that are taking a lot of energy from you,
Right.
right?
Because
Because then you
something's
don't have the
occupied.
possibility of, let it be.
Yeah.
Because you are trying to maintain and control and keep things on a certain level, keeping things in a certain organization and structure. And when you do that, you probably are also closing up the possibility of those things to come to you, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. That's it.
Because for instance, if I may, I hope you allow me.
Yeah.
When I met you,
Yeah.
we will not have this energy of conversation.
I know. Can you believe that?
When
It
I
was
met
like,
you, probably you will be like, um, because the energy was also, is almost like something wants to come out, but doesn't know how and when. So
yeah,
comes in a very sloppy and disorganized and, right?
totally. Absolutely. There was, um, and it's that, doing something.
Yeah.
I've got to do something, right? Instead of, okay, clear out that so that you can receive something and
Yeah.
be.
And that is what you feel when you are knitting. That's
Mm,
So
yeah,
can you expose to us a little bit what is that experience?
right. So knitting can be a lot of different things. It's kind of a reflection of your state. So
Mm,
some knitters can make jokes with each other, like, oh, if you're knitting tight, like if you have a tight knitting tension, that's typically because you're a bit rushed or like you're a bit
okay.
in a stressful state, let's say,
Yeah.
or you want to do it good, But if you're knitting loosely and a bit more of a loose gauge, then you are very relaxed and go with the flow. So it's really funny when you are looking back at your work, it's like you're looking at a mirror. So
Oh,
you
okay.
can see from yourself a bit of who you are when you look at your knitting work, and you also have chances to make decisions which reflect your character. So,
Mm.
if you are making a mistake, what choice are you
Oh,
going to do?
yeah.
How do you approach the situation? And again, about the process of it. So, why are you going back and fixing the mistake? Is it so that you can have
A
so that
perfect.
it looks perfect, or is it because you really want to do it well, or I don't know, what is your meaning?
Mm.
But I feel like it's yeah, it gives a chance to look at yourself.
Mm.
Yeah, at least
Mm.
that's for me. Um, and it also gives a moment for sometimes your brain is like a bowl of spaghetti.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've seen a meme recently, which was
Yeah.
very funny to me, that there was like a person who had the bowl of spaghetti brain, and they were
They
knitting
were
it
like,
through, and then it goes like very organized and
yeah,
clean.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So that
yeah,
can
yeah.
also be, yeah,
Yeah,
a way of it.
yeah. When you say it like that, that is what, for instance, I feel when I dance.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah.
So when I dance, I totally feel like, for instance, if I'm repeating a lot the same movements and the same
Yeah.
structure of the dance, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or if I'm just, letting my body to just be the pulse of
Yeah.
what I'm doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think, and this is a question because you cannot see the comments that are coming.
Yeah.
So someone is saying, so interesting you are using that when no one taught you first. It's almost like your grandmother, when we are with our grandmothers and they are teaching us. Is
Yeah,
a beautiful metaphor.
it
And
really
and
is.
also the yeah, the same person is saying, yeah, I think when what you were saying, like, the mistakes, and she's saying, oh, I also do much of that. We have a lot of energy that we want to, put out. and
Yeah,
and do you think, and my question about that, about that energy that
yeah.
we want to, do you think that it's possible to have, let's say, the same type of experience when we are embodiment, when we are doing
Yes.
embody, so that we put our bodies doing and not our
Yeah.
heads building, you know what I mean?
I believe that entirely that like knitting is just my thing, and people have different things, but it's really indeed behind the craft is what are you really doing?
Yeah,
And it's
exactly.
going into the body like you do with the dance. I also have this a similar experience with dance as well. So for me it's absolutely that. It's going letting your mind go and just
Yeah,
literally feeling what texture is on my fingers right now, right? Oh, is this wool soft or is it a little bit itchy? How heavy is it? Oh,
yeah,
okay, what did my finger just do right there? Right? And you can do that with gardening or, there's so many different ways to
yeah,
become more embodied. I think it's also not only doing the task, but making the choice of letting go of that mind and daring to go to the senses, right? What
yeah,
do you see? What do you smell? What do you hear? What do you feel?
yeah.
Um, and
Now
those
I don't know. I don't
sensory
know. Yeah,
experience.
it's incredible because now you were speaking, and the image that came so clearly for me, like,
Yeah.
came really in front of my head, my mind, my head, was I might even like, oh my God, was so clear. Was, um, when you go to do the wine, you catch the wine, and you are catching the grapes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I did that when I was younger in the farm of my grandfather, and we were taking the grapes with a lot of people there. And then after that, we will go to a place that the grapes go in, and we go with our feet, you know.
Cool.
And I remember it was so clear now, singing.
Yeah, really.
We were doing that, and all of us singing. And I
Yes.
remember that now I'm like, oh my God, that it was a beautiful trance.
Yes.
And I think can be, because now, for instance, you are in that, you built a place that people can just come and,
Yeah.
be there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How do
Yeah.
you call it? You gave a name, but I don't
The
remember.
the neighborhood knitting nook.
Yeah, okay. And you
Yes.
are there. Is that place that you
Yeah.
are there?
Yeah.
And I can imagine that, like, you come together, you
Yeah.
go to this embodied movement, and you do this,
Yeah.
and then I'm almost hearing singing, like,
Yeah. Well, the sound of the needles,
yeah,
right? There
yeah,
is sound. There
yeah,
there is
that,
this yeah, like
yeah,
exactly. It
yeah,
is a rhythm. It is
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I
yeah.
totally,
It
I
has
can,
its own
it's like, yeah,
track.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Mm.
you know me, so I like to sometimes put this in a kind of a structure,
Yeah.
connecting a little bit the dots. And if I hear you, what I hear is, when you are doing this, is connection with you, yourself, and maybe others,
Yeah.
is rhythm,
Yeah. Yeah.
and is all your senses are being used, right? So it's in an
Yeah.
embodiment experience,
Absolutely.
right? And that is what brings the potential of being more, let's say, human,
Oh,
because
yeah.
everything is implicated.
And if I can add to that, having the choice of how you want to do it. So,
The decision.
exactly. Making your decision of how you want to do that.
Yeah.
You know, the
Even the technique that you want to use, the
technique,
material that you want to
the
use,
tempo.
the time. Yeah.
I want to go fast today,
Yeah.
right? So it challenges you to make that decision, because only
Yes.
you can make that decision. And so it gives a
Totally.
great sense of empowerment.
Yeah, because taking decisions is the ultimate human thing,
Yeah.
right? Okay. And
It's-
my
yeah,
mind is processing and it's creating like, wow, okay.
mine too.
Um, so what is the what do you see, or let me put it this way, what will be your biggest desire, wish, vision for this? What is this community?
Mm, wow. Yeah. I mean, I can answer that question on so many different layers.
Oh, someone is saying, sorry to interrupt you, is saying
Please. Yeah.
collective rituals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, is that?
That is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. And I think that is actually collective rituals. That's a nice way to put it. That is my biggest wish, is actually um, that people feel the courage to go there, and that they feel welcome to go there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Through, and maybe knitting is a medium which is welcoming for some people, and maybe it's another medium, right? Maybe it's
Yeah.
dance or another embodiment technique.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I I welcome people through knitting right now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
And
and it
I,
is that.
yeah, and I honestly believe that the like you were saying, the decision of choosing that context, choosing your community,
Yes.
choosing the
Yeah.
place that you feel I'm welcome here and I like it here.
Yeah. And yeah, choosing for joy.
Ye-
Like, it's
oh,
actually
that,
so simple like that. That's the line. Like,
yes,
my biggest wish is that people choose for joy in life, and they choose
yes,
to make decision out of love, um, and to leave the fear behind. Go for
yeah,
love. Go
yeah,
for joy.
yeah. And because I think in the end, um, that is the thing, right?
Yeah.
We will never be able to express ourselves. We'll never be able to be in our magnificent self if we are not in love.
Yes, I know. Yes.
It's, because any other form will request by nature that we protect,
Yeah. Yeah.
that we close,
Yeah.
that we protect, that we are aware, that, I don't know, but
Yeah.
I'm starting getting really phobia for the word awareness.
Mm.
Because it seems like people are like, oh my God, what I need to see now, what I need to see now. It's like, just relax.
Yeah.
So, and I think if you are not in love, you is not. My experience tells me that it's not possible for us to be really getting the experience of life in a full way,
Yeah.
because we are always protecting, right? We are always like, oh
Yeah.
my God, yes, no, and when we are in this in love, then is when we trust. Is when we are open to connect with someone else, right? And
Yeah.
and be side by side,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And that's also something that's so beautifully happening in this business, because and that is my number one focus while I continue
Mm,
to build is like, is this decision made from a place of love or fear? And
yeah.
that is that is my compass, let's say.
Yes. Yes. Your
Is
measure, like, okay,
yes.
why?
Where
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly am I
Yeah.
making this, which state
Yeah.
and which place of connection am I making this decision? So
Yes.
and and as whenever I do that, and I'm very aware of when I let go of the fear-based decisions and when I go for the love-based decisions. And when I'm
Yeah.
going for the love-based decisions, there is such a response,
Yeah.
of course, within myself, and I feel completely full, but
Yeah.
that overflows, and you just see that so practically happening that
Yes.
it's
Yes.
mind-boggling. You're like,
Yeah.
wow, okay,
And
this is how it
I don't know
goes.
if that happens to you, but sometimes that happens to me. Sometimes I'm like, oh, how I'm going to do this, and I'm going, and
Yeah.
then I'm like, you know what? I'm trying to control things that,
Yeah.
you know, just let's go again to this love, and let's go again for my own values, what I want to put, and
Yeah.
then I do that, and suddenly it's like, oh, it's here. I like,
Exactly.
really? I
Yeah.
was like 3 days thinking
I know.
and putting myself
Puzzling.
puzzling and trying to
Exactly.
figure it out. And then it's like I open door and it's like, poof, hey, Ligia
Yeah.
is here. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. It's like,
Thank you.
oh, okay. Like, was not difficult at all. Was
That's
not
right.
difficult at all. And I have that experience with very practical stuff.
Yes.
So I don't know.
Same.
The other day I was really looking for someone to do a work for me. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, where do I go? Trying and messaging people. Do you know someone? And da, da, da. And there was a moment that I remember, like I was not able to find it. And I sit down in my on the couch and I said, you know what? If no one comes, I will do the best that I can. I will
Yeah.
do it myself, and I do the best that I can.
Yeah.
Was not 2 minutes later, I receive a
Look at
message
that.
saying, hey, I got someone for you. And I'm like,
Look at that. Yeah.
really? You know, seems like, and I think this is also a little bit with purpose, with
Yeah.
the way, the idea of purpose.
Right.
When you are like looking and finding, and then you go to a retreat, and then it's not that way that is coming.
No.
It's not that way that is coming.
But I think it's good to also say that that in itself is also such a process
Yeah.
of like going from out to in
Yes.
and from doing to receiving. That
Yes.
is
Yes.
that can be a process, right? And
Yes.
well, maybe I'm curious what you have to say about that. Like, how do you advise people to do that process or to receive that process?
Very, in a very simple way,
Yeah,
stop thinking.
there we go. Go to knit. Go do embodiment, right?
Stop thinking.
Yeah,
If
of
your mind
course.
was able to reach it, you will get it already.
Yeah,
And I think that is the thing, is that just stop looking for that in your head, in your understanding,
of course. Yeah,
in your logics, in even sometimes in your imagination, because yeah, your imagination is an imagination.
yeah. In our
So
hallucination.
is a lot of hallucinations there.
Yeah,
I go like, you know what? Just put your body on the experience as well. Bring
yeah,
your body along.
yeah,
How do you feel it? You know,
yeah,
if you,
yeah,
for instance, some things you will just know that I like this.
yeah.
Some
And
people you'll just know I like this person. Some people you just, all
feel
your
it.
body is like,
Yeah.
no.
And I'm also answering as well my own question, but I think for me it was also just very practically literally go back to the senses. Like,
Yes.
literally feel textures.
Yes.
Literally listen to I hear an airplane right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I hear an airplane. What do I see? You
Yes.
know, that is such a practical way to
Yeah.
start. If
I
people
think
are like,
is, yeah. No, it's the experience.
yeah,
What is the experience in the full, like, how do you feel it? You know, how do you see it? How do you hear it? How do you taste it?
yeah,
And go for that. And because everything that is in your mind is a creation.
totally.
And most part of the times is just that, a creation, right? And then
Yeah,
you go after that creation. And I see a lot of people doing that. For instance, I see people amazingly. Someone one time said to me, "Oh, I'm going to this mindfulness course because I want to be a mindfulness teacher." And I'm like, okay, great. And then she said, "Oh, I almost had a burnout doing a
oh
course on
no.
mindfulness." Like,
Oh,
please, what the hell is that?
oh no.
So it's like, what the hell are you doing? And I
Yeah,
see this a lot, even in our field,
yeah,
even in the field of
yeah,
personal development. And I
yeah,
see that a lot. I see people like, hey, you are not doing this in a healthy way. What are you doing? Because people are not fully entering with the experience. How do I feel this? For instance, how do I started this life, was I said, why I'm not doing this?
yeah,
It's just ridiculous that I'm not doing this because I like to talk.
yeah, yeah,
I know how to do this. I get a lot of energy. I get inspired by so many people in
yeah,
this world, and you are one of them. So I just, why I'm not showing to the world the people that also inspire me.
yeah, yeah.
And I
And then
could
you do it.
complicate this, I could really
Yeah,
complicate this, like, oh no, but it needs to be
absolutely.
this and that. Like, I don't really
Yes.
care.
And that's also, I think, a lot of the experience that I've had also in this process is there is um, a lot of stories, let's
Yeah.
say, in the world of why things can't work or why they shouldn't work or why they won't work.
Yes.
And that's been actually one of the biggest challenges for me
Yeah.
is to let those stories be there, but not let them infiltrate my journey
Yes.
and
Because
to keep my story straight.
yeah,
Yeah,
because can be that you are doing something that no one did before,
right. Exactly. Yeah,
right? So can
yeah,
be, or even if someone did something similar, can be, and I think you are, in your particular case, can be that you are doing this in a very different way that someone did
yeah,
it before.
yeah. And I think so. And
So all the stories are totally irrelevant
yeah, exactly.
because you are doing a new story, right?
Exactly. And that's something I think it's very interesting. Well, for my learning experience, but also maybe for others out there who are taking a step in a unique new direction for themselves,
Yeah.
that how, like, really tune into yourself and not let those other stories of maybe, maybe those stories can be correct for some contexts and some
Yeah.
situations, right? Totally fine.
Yeah.
But to really stay close to your heart and to really remember what is my story and what am I writing? What
Yes.
am I creating here?
Yes.
Because that's the only story that's relevant for me as I do this.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
and
Oh,
and to
that's
also
something.
keep um, a loving perspective towards those other stories,
Yes.
because that's also important to know that, you know um, it can also cost a lot of energy to hold resentment and
Oh yeah, no, but
other
I
things
think,
towards,
yeah,
fighting. Let's say fighting the
yeah,
stories is not
yeah.
what you want to
No,
do.
it's just like I always say like the stories are just that, stories, right?
That's it.
And you
Yeah,
can
keep them
decide
that.
to listen to them,
Yeah,
to get inspired by them. You can just say, not my story.
yeah,
Um,
right.
so, that doesn't mean like, what I mean is that if a story you say, oh, this is not what I want to be saying, okay, don't
Yeah,
say it. You don't need to fight it.
exactly.
You just say,
No, that's it.
okay,
It's
not
not
my
there.
story. Not my,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Why
yeah,
I will lose my energy for that? Like,
that's
this is
it.
not what I want to
And
say. This is not
yes,
what I believe in. This is not how I want to do it. Just
yeah,
look to the other direction. It's fine.
yeah. Look in your direction.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So for us to, my God, 1 hour goes so fast.
I know. I
You
could
see?
talk to you so
Um,
long.
so if you had the possibility of, because we have some comments here like, I'm learning how to feel more.
Beautiful.
Some people are saying,
Wow.
yeah, it's when you let go and allow the solution just to come to you, and instead of looking for it.
Yeah.
So if you had something, if you had the opportunity to, say something right now that you
Mm.
have, what will be your main message at this moment for
Mm.
people that are out there, you know?
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Well, what I feel right now is that life is fun and to make life fun for yourself
Yeah.
and choose that and know that you're not alone.
Hmm.
And when you choose for joy, you choose for love, people will be there.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yes.
yeah, I'd say that's my message.
Super. Super. Thank you so much. So, Allison, thank you so much for your time, because I know that is your mom day.
It is,
So you
yes.
took a special time for me. I totally
I
appreciate
did,
it. A
of
big, big
course.
kiss for all of you.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, I hope we can see each other soon. And I'm totally following your project. I'm
Wonderful.
inspired by
Thank
it.
you.
I think it's amazing what you're doing. And I hope that people that are seeing this are going to also to buy something there, because it's really cool. I'm going to
Thank
put the
you.
website there. So go and support the community. And yeah, we'll talk soon.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Hey,
Take care of
thank you,
yourself.
Ligia. You
Have a
too.
good day. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, everyone. See you next
Bye.
week.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.